Yo ninjas, I'm Kaio and welcome to the swipe to flare tutorial. To start practicing this combo, make sure you're able to do a few rounds of flare and also a few rounds of swipes. If you haven't seen them, watch the tutorials that I made about these two moves. Links are gonna be in the description. And if you need more help for your power moves or your breaking in general, or if you wanna support my work, check out my Patreon link in the description. The first thing you need to go from swipes to flare is to be able to start your flare with the left arm. Because when you do swipes, you land with your left hand if you spin clockwise like me, and then from the left arm or hand you're gonna lean the right one on the floor and you're gonna go into flares. So you're not gonna start flares in this way, but you're gonna start with the opposite hand. The first thing you need to know is to start your flares with this start here. As I said in the previous tutorial, to start in this way, don't push up your hips too much and your legs. Don't kick your legs and your feet too high in the air, but try to stay low. Try to start kind of like this. Very, very low. And from here, do this start 2-3 times, very low, and then go to flare. So try to do like this. 1, 2, and 3. When you master it low, you can even start practicing higher, but don't rush and don't practice directly high. Start low and then make it higher with time. If it's hard for you to start low, you can try in an even easier way. You're gonna start exactly like a normal flare, but instead you're gonna lean the left arm and then directly the right one. So you're gonna do 1, 2, and then flare. 1, 2, flare. But you're gonna stay in the front. Again, 1, 2, flare. If it's still too hard, try to start from here. So 1, 2, and flare. 1, 2, and flare. And you arrive in this position here. Just to get comfortable with leaning the left arm and then the right one. Second part and second step, try to make it higher. So same thing, but this time go high with your hips and higher with your legs. The change should not be so big, but do it gradually with time. So don't immediately go from very low to very high, but do it gradually. So something like this would be enough. Doesn't matter if your flare is not so powerful, you can even do it worse, kinda like this. Your flare doesn't need to be perfect, but when you start, the height of your start should be kinda like the same as your swipe, or even a little bit more, kinda like an air flare. If you wanna challenge yourself, try to start even higher, kinda like pretending to go to a 90, but instead going to flare. So start very high, like a handstand, and then go to a flare. It's gonna be a little bit more challenging and you don't really need it, but it's just an exercise to get even more control if you want. Third and last step for this video, try directly from the swipe. The concept is gonna be the same. Try to do only one round of swipe to not waste too much energy, and then go directly to a flare. I think at this point should be very easy because you already know how to start your flare from a higher position with your hips higher. It doesn't really need so much explanation at this point, but just try it and go for it. So one round of swipe and one round of flare. With time, you can try to make your swipe even higher and jump more on your left arm, kind of like in an air freeze. So try to jump very high in a swipe and then go into a flare. It's gonna make the effect a little bit bigger, wider, and better. Something like this. Bonus tip for you, once you master the swipe to flare, try to do one round of swipe to one round of flare to one round of swipe again, and so on as many times as possible. In this way you are gonna really improve both your flares and your swipes. Your flare will get higher and better, and also your swipes will be more powerful with time. So really challenge yourself and do it more and more in just one combo. I think it's way easier to go from flares to swipes than from swipes to flare. From flares to go to swipes, you only need to know just one round of flare, like this. And from here, you just need to turn yourself and go to swipes. So it's not really hard, but it's harder to go into flares from swipes. But try with time to make these movements wider and better, faster, and then it's gonna be very, very helpful for harder transitions, also kinda like flares to air flares and so on. you need more help for your power moves, check out my Patreon page, link in the description, and also if you're interested, check out my merch. Also, the link is gonna be in the description. See you next week with a new tutorial. Yo ninjas!